Howdy, howdy, folks. Welcome to another episode of It Came From Facebook. I have been really enjoying these past couple of weeks. I took a little hiatus because sometimes you go too far down the Facebook mines and you either start buying bikes or you just start hating yourself. And I think I was doing a little bit of both. So anyways, in today's episode, we've got some nice ones, some weird ones, and some delusional ones. Let's kick it off with this 2018 Yamaha MT-07, $6,100, 9,100 miles on the clock. Good looking little bike. Looks pretty good for a 8-year-old MT-07. Normally these fall into terrible states of disrepair over time, but this one looks like it was owned by a normal human being, which is kind of rare. Seller says low mileage, garage kept, clean title in hand, located in South Austin. It says it's a sport naked bike, great for beginner riders who are seeking a balanced ride between 250s and 1000s. I don't know if I would truly qualify the MT-07 as a pure beginner bike. It's a solid like beginner plus, older, more mature rider, returning rider. That's kind of where I've settled on this motorcycle. Has some modifications done to it. It's got some frame sliders, clutch levers, racing spool sliders for quick access. That's just a nice quality of life mod. He's got the full Yoshimura R77 exhaust system. Very nice part right there. He's got the Yoshimura fender eliminator kit. The Yoshimura, he put this fender eliminator kit on here twice. I don't know, he maybe has a different one. Maybe it's the light and the kit or something like that. And he says also included is a brand new light with the assembly. He's got 2 keys and a clean title. Honestly, this is the cleanest MT-07 maybe I've ever seen for sale, to be honest. Most of these, like I said, just really do fall terrible fates. But this one looks great, dude. Somebody owned this who was a normal, adult, reasonable human being. Putting a Yoshi pipe on there is an awesome touch. That is a very high quality part. Yoshimura has been making exhausts and parts for motorcycles for decades. And that's one of the best exhaust systems you can go with. And really nothing to say about that. I would have loved to see, though, I do see that this is it looks to be a full system. And usually when you go with the full system, you need to see some sort of flash or some sort of, change in the ECU. So I'd want to ask about that. Also noticing the Mitsubishi Evo back here with the front mount intercooler, a couple fun little parts here and there. So this person looks to be a connoisseur, a true enthusiast. You love to see it. So this MT-07, I really like in this color. This was one of my favorite colorways that they did, the neon yellow and then the black. I always thought was a great combination, really fit the vibe of this bike. And this one is just super clean, man. He's got the indicators tucked in right here. They look to be a little popped out of their housing, but that does tend to happen with the MT bikes. Every MT bike I've had before they switched to, no, even when they switched to LED blades, those little rubber boots just refuse to hold the light in place. I've always had them pop out. And that may be because I'm setting my wheelies down a little too hard. Maybe I gotta gently set it down and that wouldn't happen. Maybe that's my problem. I don't know. The clutch levers look fine. I would have preferred to see stock, but that's a very small little quality of life mod that people do just to make it adjustable so that it fits their hand and that sort of thing. Headlamp looks pretty decent right there. Not a mod that I would really be super interested in doing. Chain looks a little rusty, maybe a little worse for wear. The mileage isn't too bad for the chain. Chains, when cared for properly, can go between 15 to 20,000 miles. The sprocket looks to be in decent spec. You'd have to take a closer look to see if the teeth are rounded off. But again, this looks like it was owned by a somewhat normal human being. So chain and sprocket, a little old, a little like rusted out, but we'll probably go for a couple more thousand miles. It's a part that I think some people get in their own heads about with chain and sprockets. Like obviously it's extremely important because that's driving the rear wheel, but at the same time, sealed chains are so incredibly robust, and a spent sprocket you're gonna feel probably before you feel a spent chain. To be honest, that's what I've seen in my experience on my 33 years on this planet. So it looks like he does have a phone mount on here. Again, that's a super common mod to see on these. But overall, man, how much do you want for this? $6,100. Talk him down under $6,000. This is worth it all day, every day. This is a great pickup for somebody. Honestly, I wanted to include this one first because this is a clean, nice, solid bike. And these are the type that I'm trying to lead you guys to when you're looking at used listings. Like, try to find stuff like this that just looks clean, solid, nice. Like, yes, you are going to drop some money on it, but I do think it's worth it to just pay a little bit more to get a solid, good bike at a pre-owned price rather than trying to, dumpster dive and buy some like $1,000 motorcycle. That's pretty much never worth it unless it's just a parts bike, which we will show you guys later in the episode. All right, next up, Delusional 2022 Suzuki GSX-R600, $10,500 with 10,000 miles on the clock. What are we talking about? Okay, let's take a look at what this seller says. Stock, no engine modifications. That is honestly shocking because it's a Suzuki Gixxer with 10,000 miles. Somebody rode a stock GSX-R600 and did nothing to it for 10,000 miles. That's kind of like a fate worse than death, right? All right, we'll come with maintenance tool I won't need anymore. I guarantee you that's the preload wrench that comes with the bike, or maybe the tool roll. This guy doesn't seem particularly sophisticated. Helmet, Shoei RF 1400, good helmet. Don't want your used helmet. Literally never use somebody's used helmet. You have no idea what the condition is. Please buy a new helmet. Gloves, quad lock stem mount, rear stand, still has wheel and tire warranty. DM if interested in more details. So the second to last line here where he says it still has the wheel and tire warranty, that worries me because I don't see that this person says they have the title in hand. And typically, people who get wheel and tire warranties get loans out on their bikes. And I'm not trying to cast shade. I'm not trying to be a D-bag. But somebody buying a 2022 Suzuki GSX-R600 and referencing a maintenance tool and talking about wheel and tire warranty and has had it bone stock and did nothing for 10,000 miles, that to me tells me we're not dealing with someone who is, let's say, a high-level enthusiast, even a mid-level enthusiast. This is someone who is probably pretty low on the totem pole of motorcycle understanding, general knowledge about bikes and that sort of thing. It seems a little suspect. But otherwise, it's a 2022. They've been making GSX-R600s the same for the last, 15 years. So this really does look kind of like a museum piece at this point. There's a pretty decent front fork on this thing. Showa fully adjustable. It's not I guess it is a super sports. It's got proper suspension. I guess I'm just not used to seeing it anymore. Like we have that Trident 800 right now and it has that ridiculous, it has rebound and compression just on one leg of the fork. It's the Showa separate function fork. And it has a KYB steering stabilizer too. Maybe we're sleeping on Suzuki's out here. Who knows? But, $10,500 with 10,000 miles on the clock. It's a 4-year-old bike. It's a 600. What are we talking about? I understand these brand new are I think they're 12 grand brand new because the 750s are 13 something and they're a little bit cheaper than the 750s, but not by much. With 10,000 miles and 4 years of ownership, I guess the fact that it's bone stock will be very tantalizing to some Suzuki simps, but in general, I believe this to be like a $7,000 motorcycle. I don't understand how it would only lose 10% of its value, 20% of its value after 4 years of ownership and 10,000 miles. To me, probably sitting closer to 60 to 70% of its value. So I don't know where this person is getting $10,500. Maybe I'm not up to date on the 600 market because I don't ever buy these bikes, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems a little spicy for my taste. Moving on. Now, this one I had to include because it's the same price as the Gixxer, but you're getting a whole lot more hog, baby, but it's equally as delusional in my opinion. 2007 Honda Goldwing, $10,500 with 44,257 miles on the clock. She's barely broken in, boys. We got the Screaming Eagle on the side here. As we'll see, this is a veteran's motorcycle. This is a true old man motorcycle. Seller says clean title, cruise control fully working, Navi system, heated seats, 1 year from classic, perfect condition. Now, if I remember correctly, you can only get classic or vintage plates in Texas at the 25-year mark. I don't think it's the 20-year mark. You got to wait for 25 years. I could be wrong, but it would be pretty cool to slap on vintage plates. But it does make me it makes me feel quite old thinking that a 2007 is now vintage. God damn, are we really at that point already? That's a little terrifying, but my generation has Peter Pan syndrome, so what can you do? Look at the grizzly hand on that. Boy, that hand has turned some wrenches you ain't even thought about. Look at this guy's warehouse in here. This is the sign of a man who has lived 40 plus years hanging out here doing stuff. Look at all the fluids and things. this moves beyond, I always tell you guys, like, try to find the photos in a nice, organized garage. If you're dealing with a super old timer like this is kind of what you want to see. Handyman type of stuff. He gets his hand in the business. He puts his hand in the dough. You know what I'm saying? He gets in there. He needs the pizza. All right? That's what this guy's doing with this Goldwing, with this grizzly hand right here. And the flip-flops, boy. The grizzly hand and the flip-flops, the chanclas with the socks. You already know what the deal is, man. This guy's retired. He no longer cares. This is a bike that tells you no longer cares. Now, I wanted to include this bike because to me, this is almost like the motorcycle equivalent of boomers who put up their homes for sale. And they're like, yeah, my non-updated 1970s ranch house is worth $1.8 million. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? No, it's not. And I think this is the same story with this Goldwing. This guy's like, yeah, it's worth $10,500. My friend, I really hate to break it to you, but a nearly 20-year-old Goldwing with 44,000 miles on the clock is no more than $5,000. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't see this going for 10.5 in any way, shape, or form, or any universe, dude. It's a 20-year-old Goldwing with 44,000 miles. Look at this. Look at this guy, man. Look at this arm. He looks like Freddy Krueger coming to you in the nightmares with the chanclas and the socks. This looks like your little cousin turned into a zombie and he's going to come get you. That's terrifying. And he's got the striped shirt too. Lord have mercy. Don't get me near this guy. He's scaring me. He's scaring me a little bit. But anyways, Ryobi tools, the lawnmower next to it. We're dealing with a prime specimen here. Shoot this guy a lowball $5,000 offer, call it a day, and keep it moving, boys. Now, look, I don't know about you, but I am thoroughly tired of R6 people. I'm like, I've had it up to here with R6 people. So this is an R6 race bike, year unknown, mileage unknown, going for $18,500. Looks like it's a very simple entry-level race prep build. Fella says, parting ways with the R6 so I can focus racing the R1. I don't know you, don't know your R1, don't know why you included that, don't really care. It says, bike has low time/miles and has never been registered for the road. Pictures show that it has aftermarket products from Attack, Penske, GP, Tightales, etc. Bike has a race harness on it and plenty of other aftermarket parts designed for racing. We only have the one photo here. It says that he comes with 2 wheels. What I don't understand about listings like this is, to me, it just tells me you're extremely unserious. Like, you were trying to sell an $18,000 R6 race bike. So the clientele that is interested in getting that, they would want to know specific things about the bike. Like, I have bought many race bikes. I've gone racing. I have built and modified and owned several race bikes and track bikes. I would want lots of photos. I'd want to know what shock he put on it, what size the rider was. Is this dude 240 pounds or is he 160 pounds? That's going to change my calculus, because then I'm going to have to think about getting this thing resprung and set up and whatever. And if you're going racing, you're going to do those things anyways, but it's just nice to know, right? Like, I want to know, like, are these direct lines to the brakes? It kind of looks like it, but I can't tell. I can tell that it's on slicks. It's been used. There's no mileage. There's no hours. There's not enough information here to be selling something at this price point. And I get it. Like, people like me who are higher level enthusiasts and want to go buy a bike to race with and do the thing with, like, you're going to ascertain those details when you get there and do all that. But to me, it's just disrespectful to post up something like this and to not even think about the person who's looking at it or trying to buy it. And it shows to me that you're unserious about selling it. If you're serious about selling something, especially nearly $20,000 worth of motorcycle, take a couple photos, several photos, spend some time writing the description. Don't just say that the photos show that it has aftermarket parts. I have eyes, right? I can see that it has those parts. Why don't you tell me the specs when you got it? Just give me information about the bike. And then people post up stuff like this and you're like, oh man, like, can't sell my bike. Nobody wants to buy stuff anymore. Everybody's broke. And it's like, no, dude, your listing sucks. That's the problem. So I really hate stuff like this. It really annoys me, and I wish we could do better. Moving on. Whoa, hey, hold on a sec. This is my Triumph Trident 800 that I'm giving away on my website, yammynoob.co. You guys already know the deal. Become a member, pick up some merch, and you can be as lucky as Ryan from California, who won our Tuono V4, or maybe Amanda in Oklahoma, who won the Panigale V4, or Hank, who won the Gorilla 450 up in Ohio. Wait a minute. Hank's a dog. Jared, the owner, actually won the motorcycle, although I think Hank might be up for our best beginner rider of the season. Click that link below, get your chances locked and loaded to win this Trident. Don't miss it. All right, Kawasaki Z1000SX, baby, going for $4 grand, 39,000 miles on the clock. These are cool as hell. If you know, you know. These are really sick. So there used to be, someone in the comments can remember this guy's name. I unfortunately cannot remember his name. He is one of the old lore moto vloggers. He was some dude in the Midwest with the Z1000. I don't think he's active anymore. I cannot remember this dude's name, but he was some guy. He had a great voice. He was out in the Midwest with the Z1000. Super funny dude. It was orange like this too, if I remember correctly, because they sold it in this orange color, which was crazy. I don't think this is like a totally custom thing. So seller says bike is in great condition. Certainly is. Only has a minor scuff. Starts and runs right away. Very unique bike. It was a prize bike back in 03. Fast and handles very well. Cash only, no trades. So we're looking at a 23-year-old Kawasaki Z1000SX. These were sort of a prototypical super naked, hyper naked offering from Kawasaki. This was before we had the big hyper naked trend in the late 2000s into the 2010s. And just as a side note, is this not the most like 2003 photo you've ever seen? Something about the vibe of this image, like the color grading, the orange bike, the underglow, the truck in the background, the apartment complex. This feels so nostalgic and vintage to me in like such a lovely way. Just shout out to this photo. I like it. It's a nice photo. He's got the Corbin seat. He's got this full pipe leading out the back. Now, I don't remember if these were carbureted or not. They may very well have been. It's a little hard to tell. I can't really see I can't really make this out if this is a carburetor. I can obviously see the throttle body and the boot right here, but I can't tell where the fuel is being fed or if it is a carburetor or not. This might have already been EFI, but regardless, these are really sweet. Big, beefy, booming inline four, great styling, super classic. This one's in really good condition, honestly. Like, this is a really cool bike. This is like such a cool vintage bike at this point. I could do without the purple. You know, that's something that maybe you pick it up and then you take that off. But he's got the stock tail on it, man. He never even put a tail tidy on it. Stock levers. He's got some grips. I'm kind of digging it. The tires look a little weird. They look a little worse for wear. Love that he probably just took his kids to the park and he's like, screw it, I'm just gonna take a photo of my bike and just sell it. That's great. My man's running the expired tags over here. Who cares? I don't even care about motorcycle registration. Does anybody actually bother with that? Or am I just incriminating myself? So Z1000, $4,000. Great. Love it. Pick this thing up. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Very cool bike. Moving on. All right, this one I thought was pretty interesting. It would be great for an entry-level rider. 2020 Yamaha R3 going for $4,000 with 5,000 miles on the clock. Seller says, selling my motorcycle that I purchased last year. Unfortunately, I haven't had as much time to ride as I expected, so it's been ridden very little and has low miles. Usually what that tells me is the person either got scared or bored of riding. If they're not talking about the fact that they've upgraded or gone to something different, they probably decided riding was not for them, and that's okay. The bike is in great condition, runs excellent, and has been well cared for. No issues, clean title, and ready to ride. It's been a fun bike to own, but I'd rather see it go to someone who will enjoy it more than I have. The only mods I did to it were domino grips and new levers. Well, that's pretty sweet. That's a pretty tidy list of mods. And the R3 has been fundamentally the same since it debuted in 2015. Yamaha loves to say that they've made changes and improvements and blah, 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 but dude, really, this bike really has not changed all that much since 2015. The frame and the engine are exactly the same. This was my first sport bike. This was my first bike back in 2015, not this one specifically. I had a red one, first model year 2015 bike. And it was great, really great learner bike. And I love to tell you guys that these like entry-level sport bikes, the reason I brought this up is because I recently talked about how the Ninja 300 is still a great pickup nowadays if you can find one for a good price. This one, this R3, a 2020 model, so it's only 6 years old with 5,000 miles, going for $4,000. Get this guy down to like $3,500. This is an excellent, excellent starter point for your motorcycling journey. Something like this would be really, really great. One thing I just remembered, two things that they changed from first model year bikes to later on that are actually is very important. Number one, they changed the front fork. They went with an upside down normal style unit on it like that because the first ones had right side up forks. The second thing they did is they used to have bias ply tires fitted stock, which is crazy. Now they actually come with radial construction tires the way that any motorcycle should. It is absolutely crazy that Yamaha sold these with bias ply tires back in 2015, but who am I to say anything about that? So this would be a good pickup for someone, man. Honestly, like I think a bike like this would be really solid for someone. Get this guy down a little bit in the price in the $3,000 range, and you'd be good to go. I think it'd be a good pickup. Okay, this one is a disaster, and this was what I was talking about in the intro, where it's worth it to spend the money to get a normal good bike. Just wait. Don't buy clapped garbage like this. Okay, 2008 Suzuki SV650, tried and true platform. Everybody loves them, right? $750 with 30,000 miles. This fella says clean title in hand, $750 or best offer. There is a rattle coming the top end and smoke from the exhaust when under load. This is the result of a clutch push arm seal giving out while riding, leading to oil starvation. I mean, maybe. The clutch is not really at the top of the engine, so a rattle coming from the top is not related to the clutch. The clutch is at the bottom, where the transmission and the bottom end of the bike all come together. The top of the engine, where the valves are rotating and all that, and you have cam chains and all that sort of thing. That's not the result of the clutch. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. So the bike is not ready to ride, he says. I am replacing the valve seals. The current price is for the bike in its current state. Valve cover open seals removed. When I replace the seals, the price will go up significantly, especially if that and valve adjustments as I reassemble cures both issues. So I love that. He's like, hey, man, I'm sitting on a gold mine here. So if you want it, it's going to be $7. But like, well, when I get this fixed, it's going to be $5,000. Dude, stop the nonsense, brother, please. Two Brothers exhaust tuned after install, clip-ons, RX2 GP style Coso Speedo. The price is firm. Reasonable trade offers for pistols or other valuables are welcome. Man, this is what I mean. Where like I try to steer you guys towards bikes where I'm like, find them in a nice garage, in a nice neighborhood. Like, you really don't want to deal with someone who's willing to trade a motorcycle for a gun. I'm sorry, but that's just like not what like reasonable, well-adjusted adult human beings do. That feels like what low-life 20-year-olds are doing with their motorcycles. And it's just not the kind of person you really want to interact with in general. Like, even to buy some random crap bike, it's really not worth it. But this one really, really is not worth it. And you gotta love the listings where people are like, oh man, like I'm gonna get it fixed up and I'm gonna sell it for big money. I'm like, then why are you trying to sell it when it's broken? Because I don't think you believe in yourself to actually fix this motorcycle. So the gas tank looks dented and it looks almost like a paper bag. This paint job with this like weird cream color just looks really, really ratty. I mean, look at the shoes this guy's got on. And you guys, you might clown me for this, right? But like, shoes matter. You know, the type of shoes that somebody's wearing, I think it says a lot about a person. It really does. And big Air Force Ones like this with the shoelaces undone, I don't know, man. It just gives me, clapped kind of vibes. And the photo is just terrible here. You can barely see what the hell's going on. This gas tank looked like it's made out of paper mache, and it was colored in by like a marker. I don't know what the hell's going on with this motorcycle. And is this the special dash he was talking about that looks just like so cheap and terrible? I'm not going to lie. I hate all the like aftermarket dash units that you see people peddling constantly for some reason now because they're getting some sponsorship money and they're broke as hell. So I guess they have to take that money. But, you know, the Chiggies or whatever, like all those weird little screens that people are promoting, those are so dumb. Like, don't add screens to your motorcycle. Why don't we take less screens? Isn't the whole point of riding to not look at a screen? Why don't we do that? So this one, yeah, $750, horrible. You got to look for the signs. Just don't fall for this, boys. Don't fall for this. All right, this one I thought was great. This is for the racers out there, people who want to get started. This one's interesting. I want to talk about it a little bit. 2010 Ninja 250R, $2,000, mileage unknown. Okay, we're not working with a lot of money. Not working with a lot here. All right. This fella says, I'm selling my race bike after riding Coda this week. It's the, man, you rode Coda on a 250? I'd love to know lap times. Like, what? God, that'd be so fun. It's the perfect track bike for aspiring racers to get familiar with riding on track, especially for younger riders. That is very true. The 250 is a very underrated platform, and I think CMRA still does 250 class racing, which is really cool. I've gone from complete noob to licensed racer in just a couple years thanks to that bike. She's been very good to me, but I'm moving overseas, so it's time to part ways. So this fella says, comes with K-Tech rear shock, Woodcraft rear sets, 0.80 kilogram springs in the fork, and aftermarket damping valve. So this is what I was talking about with the other R6 listing, where like we didn't get any information about anything that was done to this bike. This guy is giving me all the stuff I want to know. It's like, okay, it's keyless, has the sprockets, the rims, what's the standing with the tires right now. He's got front and rear stands, full set of plastics, TRS pins, and plus a ramp to load it into the truck bed if interested. So this is a complete kit for you to go racing with for $2,000. Now, the only problem with this bike, and I forgot to include it on here, but he put it in the title, is that it's no title. No title on this bike. And so ownership would just have to be bill of sale. But here's the thing, and this is something that people tend to not really like discuss much when it comes to like race bikes and track bikes. You're not really going to put it back out on the street. And honestly, at $2,000, does it really matter? You know, you're just buying a thing that has wheels and runs. Like a title is, to me, anything under $5,000, like, does it even matter if it has a title, especially if you're going to go compete with it? I don't care personally. That's just how I run it. Like, that's not really that important to me. Because what I'm going to do with it is like, I would just buy it and go endurance racing. And if it blows up, it blows up. It was $2,000. You know, I've spent more on guitars. Like, who cares? Like, it's $2,000, you know? To go racing, like, this is what I tell you guys, like, you know, small, lightweight bikes like this, if you want to get good and get fast and get proper, this is what you got to do. Back in 2019, I had an RC 390. I trained with that bike for a full year, and then we did endurance 400 racing, and then 2 years later, I built a new endurance 400 team. Like, little bikes taught me everything I know. Like, they were the foundation for me to get fast and get good on track. And then I could come back to the big bikes and ride them better. So $2,000 for this one, I think totally fair. Go out there, have some fun, go do some racing in the 250 class. Don't think that you're too cool to go racing in the 250 class. Because I tell you what, some of those 250 guys, they're fast, man. They're really fast. You're going to have a hard time keeping up with them. And if you rock up as a novice trying to race thousands, you're an idiot. That's not going to work out. That's a terrible idea. Moving on. So this one I just thought was fascinating from almost an anthropological perspective. It was just listed as motorcycle. This shrimp sea creature, $6,000. Every motorcycle that is horrifically modified like this ends up looking like a bug or a sea creature, which I think is quite funny. This person says, for sale, a rolling chassis with motor, automatic transmission, and axle, new wheels and tires. The engine is an old school Ford 6 inline 200. The frame is custom built. New front end modified to keep up with engine weight, Harley-Davidson seat, all new lights. I don't know what condition the engine is, but I was told it was running and good. Really? As is for $6,000. Text or call. Hidden information for more information. Now, I thought that was really funny because there is no option to do a hidden information thing with Facebook like this. So he actually typed out hidden information, which I find quite funny. So we have some sort of like central chain-like chassis right here and an entire like floorboard girdle system for this Ford engine. No front brake as far as I can tell, and no indication of year or like who built this or what's going on. And I really do feel for people who they get stuck with something like this, because this just ends up being a bit of yard art, right? Like, what else can you really do with this other than just like put it somewhere and just it's art, And I just hope that it actually rolls, because it's sure as hell not going to turn on. There's nothing connecting the throttle to the engine. Maybe there's a different way to go on this thing, but I don't know. Either way, like, all of these insane, like, super long, weird car engine bike things, they're just not for me. Yeah, this is crazy. I hate looking at it. It's crazy. Somebody wants $6,000 for it. It's just a piece of art now. It is what it is. All right, last but not least, another pretty strange one. A 2004 Honda CBR going for $3,500 with 36,000 miles. Pretty simple track build, it looks like. We have some plastics, lever guards, hybrid stand right here through the fork. So let's see what they say. Let it sit for about a year. Now it's not getting fuel, so it won't start. Well, why the hell did you do that? Starts with starting fluid, but not getting fuel. Replaced the fuel pump with a new one last week, and the fuel pump is working, but still no fuel to the engine. Everything else on the bike, it legit. Just haven't been in the track in a year. Ugh. I don't know. 2004 CBR 1000 for the track, fiberglass fairings, only did a handful of track days, no racing. To be honest, like, this is just my hot take, but I prefer to buy race bikes than track bikes. I don't mean to sound like this kind of guy, but the average track day bro does not properly care for their motorcycle, because tech inspection for regular track days is just like, oh, does your throttle close? Oh, do you have brakes? Great, go rip on the racetrack. Versus, like, guys who race take it really seriously usually, and tech inspection for racing is way more thorough. You have to have everything safety wired, and you have to have a belly pan. Everything needs to be, like, really proper on a race bike, because they don't want you to just die from a mechanical, So I think track bike builds are lame, and, like, I really, I feel like unless you've raced the thing, it's not really. I just find that a lot of track day guys are kind of yahoos. I'll just put it that way. They're just like yahoos who kind of just goof around with the platform, and, like, it just ends up looking like this. And you're like, well, okay, like, it's a track bike, right? And I say that as someone who had a proper nice race bike, and then I crashed it a bunch of times and turned it into a track bike, and it was never as nice as it used to be. So he said he's had a ton of stuff done to it, fork seals, blah, 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 oil change, ready to go to the track if you can get the fuel sorted. Everything else is legit. Don't have everything converted back to street, doesn't have turning signal switches, no lights. So this is also something crazy that I see a lot of times. People buy or want to buy track bikes and like, oh, I'm going to turn it back to a street bike. I'm like, why would you do that? Just buy a street bike. Like, to me, once a bike is transformed into a track-only bike, it's a track-only bike. You are done. Don't turn that back into a street bike, because it's really not worth the hassle and the effort. So this fella telling us that it's just the fuel and he's not getting fuel and the bike won't start and it won't run. The whole thing is just suspect to me, man. I just feel like, you can sit there and say, oh, the bike's, that's all it is. It's just the fuel. I'm like, who the hell knows if that's all it is? You know what I mean? Like, the bike not wanting to run, but then starting on starter fluid is very strange. Very, very strange. So maybe you can get it firing over, but then it won't want to keep running. That could be all types of issues. That could be injectors. That could be the fuel lines clogged up, which it probably is. It's probably clogged up injectors and fuel lines because you let this thing sit for a year, ostensibly with, pump gas, which is a terrible idea. I can also tell this guy's a bit of a yahoo because he's on Rosso 3s, and there's a really long chicken strip on here. And typically, I don't really care about chicken strips, but if it is a track bike, there should not be any edge of tire that's not utilized. That would be really ridiculous. Everything looks decent here. It just looks like a nice, tired, old, mid-2000s Japanese bike. Rear sets are adjustable. That's pretty cool. Looks like you can... I think this is swap to GP shift. Maybe you can flip this around or swap it in some way. Looks like it has just some like scuffs and damage on the frame. I mean, this is like a 20-year-old motorcycle, so it's going to have that happen. I believe these tires are like, I'm seeing the little dots on here. They look extremely new and fresh. So maybe he's on Rosso 3s just because he's like, I don't care about actually running this on the track anymore. So I think if you're going to buy a track bike, honestly, try to buy a race bike, because then it's already like fully prepped, fully set up, and someone really cared about it and really wanted to make it nice. That's just my 2 cents. All right, boys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and looking at these bike listings. I hope you had some fun. Hope you learned something, and I will catch you in the next one. See you later.